Welcome to chapter 6 on measurement. Okay, before I begin, let us recap again what is the research process for you to actually finish doing your research project. So step number 1 is for you to identifying the problem, and then you will be reviewing literature, you'll be setting research questions, subjective and hypothesis, and then you will be choosing your study design. And then step number 5 is for you to decide on the sample design, and you can start collecting data right afterward. Step 7 is for you to process and analyze your data. And last but not least, you'll be having to write the report. All right. So let us recap again. How can you define research problem? So in research process, the first and foremost step happens to be that of selecting and properly defining a research problem. So a researcher must find the problem and formulate it so that it becomes accessible to research. So to define a problem correctly, a researcher must know what a problem is. All right, so the research problem undertaken for study must be carefully selected. Okay, so now after you have decided on your research problem, we will be talking about concepts and construct. So the first step in the measurement process is for you to define the concepts that we are studying. So generally, researchers generate concepts by generalizing from particular facts. So concepts are based on our experience. Concepts can be based on real phenomena and are generalized idea into something of meaning. Okay, so example of concepts also include common demographic measures, which are income, age, education level, and also number of siblings. Okay, so concepts and construct. So we can actually measure concept through direct and indirect observation. Indirect observation, for example, we can measure someone's weight or height. Okay, and we can also record the color of their hair and their eyes color. However, for indirect observation, we can use a questionnaire in which respondents provide answers to our questions about gender, about income, age, attitudes, and also behaviors. All right. So um, now we are going to talk about construct. So construct are measured with multiple variables. So construct actually exists at a higher level of abstraction than concepts. For example, justice, beauty, happiness, and health. These are all construct. So construct are considered hidden variable because they cannot be directly observable or measured. So typical construct in marketing research can include brand loyalty, purchase intent, customer satisfaction. So construct are the basis of working hypothesis. Okay. So for example here, brand loyalty is a construct that marketing researchers study often. So brand loyalty can be measured using a variety of measures. Okay. For example, here we have number of items purchased in the past. Okay, monetary value of past purchases. So these all can actually measure brand loyalty. Okay, a frequency of past purchase occasions, the likelihood of future purchases, the likelihood of recommending the brand to a friend or family members, the likelihood of switching to another competitive brand. So these are all construct that marketing company can use to measure brand loyalty. All right. Okay, now what is attribute? So an attribute is a single feature or dimension in a construct. Okay, so measurement is the assignment of numbers or symbols to phenomena. So measurement actually requires a scale. So a scale can provide a range of values, a yardstick that corresponds to the presence of the properties of the concept under investigation. So a scale provides the rules that associate values of the scale to the concept that we are actually studying for our research, where variables are measurements that are free to vary. So variable can be divided into two. independent variables or dependent variables. So a dependent variable change in response to changes in the independent variable or variables, whereby constants on the other hand do not vary, it stays the same, it stays constant. Okay, so now in terms of hypothesis, so a research hypothesis is a statement of expectations or prediction that will be tested by research. So our definition of a hypothesis stresses that it can be tested. So to meet this criterion, the hypothesis must be operationalized. Okay, so that is the concept employed in the hypothesis, must be measurable. So a hypothesis often follows a basic format of if A ataupun if A happen, then B will happen. Okay, if this happen, then another thing will happen. What is the consequences? So one way to structure your hypothesis is to describe what will happen to the dependent variable if you make changes to the independent variable. So the basic format might be, if these changes are made to certain independent variable, then we will observe a change in the specific dependent variable. Okay, this is some samples of hypotheses of real life situation or even in any studies that you might encounter in your research. So example number 1, students who eat breakfast will perform better on a mathematics exam than students who do not eat breakfast. Okay, students who experience test anxiety prior to an English exam will get higher scores than students who do not experience test anxiety. Okay, and then thirdly, motorists who talk on the phone while driving will be more likely to make errors on a driving course than those who do not talk on the phone. Okay, now after we have been listening to several chapters from chapter 1 until now chapter 6, let's do together a pop quiz. All right, the value of a constant as opposed to the value of variable does not change. Is it correct or wrong? Okay, the answer is correct. All right. Constructs are typically measured with a single variable. Is it correct? Wrong. Yes, it is wrong. Okay, random variables change in an orderly manner. Is it right or wrong? This is wrong. Okay. When a research controls a variable, it will no longer have an effect on the dependent variable attitudes and behaviors being investigated. Is this sentence correct or wrong? It is correct. Okay. An attribute represents multiple dimensions of a concept or construct. Is it correct or wrong? It's wrong. Concept have a higher level of abstraction than construct. Okay, concept is much more abstract than construct. Is it right or wrong? It's wrong. Construct have a higher level. And that's all for today's chapter. See you next chapter.